Hello, video gamers. I'm Shu Tanaka.
I'm Chan Tanaka.
And welcome once again to Shu and Chan Unscripted, our hard-hitting, hard-listening audio series, bringing you the biggest news and incisive views from the very heart of the video gaming industry.
They keep it alive in a saline tank in a lab in Kyoto.
It's summertime, video gamers, and that means... It is still summertime, right, Chan?
The Green Hill Mutual Insurance calendar we got back in December would have us believe so.
Well, I suppose it can't have a dog in the fight, so yes, even though it feels like we're in some nebulous phantom realm where time ceased to have any practical meaning, video gamers, we are in fact still in midsummer.
But what year?
Don't start that now. We're still only a couple weeks out from the last time we had to talk Arnie down from one of his Reality is an Illusion episodes. It doesn't take much for him to start questioning the fabric of existence these days.
His latest episode was triggered, as near as we can tell, by viewing National Geographic footage of a duck-billed platypus.
To be fair, those things are kind of a trip. Regardless, it's been more than a month since independent caravaneers took over the abandoned plague town that was formerly the E3 Gaming Exposition, and since that time, their little roadside knick-knack stands have been steadily furnishing passers-by with the knockoff Gucci bags of gaming news and the bootleg Mexican SpongeBob plushies of gaming announcements.
A metaphor masterfully strained, Brother Shu.
The transition from gigantic live venue-based media presentations to smaller pre-recorded video showcases has not occurred without sacrificing some of the former's impact and prestige, but it has also allowed what is normally a one-week-and-done news cycle to be smeared over the course of 3 full months with big announcements popping out of nowhere like video game news whack-a-mole.
Case in point, over the last couple weeks we've had the first installments of both CD Projekt Red's cyberpunk-centric Night City Wire as well as Ubisoft's Ubisoft Forward presentation, each of which brought with them a significant amount of new footage and information. One may be compelled to ask, is this the future of video game reveals?
Well, it's the near future. Until conditions improve, I expect all media briefings to be packaged in a similarly plague bunker-friendly manner. And it must be said they are making some significant strides with the format. Both the Cyberpunk presentation and the Ubisoft presentation were very slickly produced, particularly in comparison to Microsoft's initial Xbox Series X reveal, which had the general video quality of a 13-year-old YouTuber rushing to finish up filming before his older sister tears down the green screen and reclaims her computer chair.
So let's start with Night City Wire. What were your thoughts overall, brother?
Well, you know I've been looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077, Chen. Open world, RPG elements, customizable wobbly bits. This checks a lot of boxes.
The whole replacement cybernetic limbs thing doesn't make things awkward for you.
Well, it didn't until you said that, so thank you for that.
You are technically a cyborg now.
Being completely honest, the sci-fi elements provided enough of a degree of removal that I really hadn't considered it much in relation to my own prosthetic claw. If anything, I suppose it's reassuring to know that even a dystopian vision of the future includes radically advanced multi-function replacement limbs and organs.
Like an arm that doubles as a flamethrower/chainsaw.
You know, Cleavon from 4 Doors Down did say that he'd be willing to do the installation for me for $50 and the cost of hardware.
I really would not take him up on that, brother. He works out of his garage and I'm 100% certain that he's not a doctor. I think he actually does lawnmower repairs.
Oh, pshaw. If he's not in the medical profession, then how do you explain all the blood on his floor?
Again, brother, I would not take him up on the offer.
I've seen some of his tattoo work. He does remarkably well with an electric toothbrush and a ballpoint pen. Very low overhead there, so prices are reasonable.
We're getting off topic. Night City Wire, what did you think?
Oh, well, again, I'm as excited about Cyberpunk as anyone, and I realize it's an existing property, but I can't help thinking that some of their announcements might be jumping the gun a little bit.
What do you mean?
Well, spin-offs and merchandising, brother. The game isn't out until November, and we've already got announcements for an art book, a gaming chair, a custom edition Xbox, figurines, statues, t-shirts, new tabletop editions, a Netflix animated series. I'm just thinking that maybe we should wait until the game is actually out before they premiere Cyberpunk babies or launch the Cyber O's breakfast cereal.
That's a little strange to hear you say, brother. I seem to remember you pitching an even wider merchandising blitz back when we released Roller Death Derby 6.
Well, yes, Chan, but there was a significant difference that time.
Which was?
In that instance, the money was going to us. They're just being vulgar.
Any thoughts on the gameplay reveals? The 3 different life paths, for instance.
Yes, actually. During the presentation, CD Projekt Red revealed that you will be playing through 3 completely different prologues, depending upon the life path you chose for your character. The choices being Cyber Urchin, Cyber Redneck, and Cyber Yuppie.
The official names are Street Kid, Nomad, and Corpo, brother.
Whatever they are, they're a menace to game developers. When an RPG character has a unique backstory, it's supposed to be addressed with 2 lines of throwaway dialogue and a stat bonus. You don't make 3 different playable beginnings. Those are at the beginning. People actually play them. If you're going to put some variety in the playthroughs, everyone knows you do it at the end where only 6 or 7 people will ever see it. That way you can skimp on the labor and it doesn't make the rest of us look bad.
I remember you reacted in much the same fashion back when branching dialogue options became standard.
In my day, we had yes or no, and if you chose no, the game ignored you. This is intolerable.
Let's move on, brother. July also saw the premiere of the Ubisoft Forward digital presentation, which showed new footage from Watch Dogs Legion and the first full trailer for Far Cry 6. Now, we already know a bit about Watch Dogs Legion and its main gameplay hook of allowing you to recruit literally any NPC you encounter as a playable character. Have any of the new reveals changed your opinions on the game?
To be honest, no, because even with the new information, we still don't have a complete picture of how the system actually works. Ubisoft games have never had particularly nuanced writing, and to all appearances, it looks like Watch Dogs Legion is going to be handing off all of its heavy emotional labor to an army of chatbots.
So you're apprehensive.
Look, maybe they'll surprise me, but it just doesn't seem like the technology's there for voice dynamically generated characters yet. I can't shake the feeling that we're going to be getting a game narrative carried entirely by Oblivion NPCs.
Surely not as bad as old that, brother.
All I know is if they offer to tell me about the High Elves, I'm logging off.
Finally, let's talk about Far Cry 6, which got its first full trailer at the presentation.
Yes, indeed. Personally, after the relative mundanity of Far Cry 5's rural Montana, I'm happy to see the series returning to its natural element, murdering up international vacation spots, in this case the exotic country of sort of Cuba.
The trailer showed no gameplay, but instead set the scene for the title with a touching father and son bonding moment between Breaking Bad's Giancarlo Esposito, his son, and a live grenade.
Yes, I was a bit disappointed in that we didn't get much in the way of actual details, but for what it was, it did an effective job of establishing Esposito's character as a deranged psychopath.
It was disturbing to see him directing his son to toss a live grenade into a crowd of protesters.
What? No, not that. If you're a tyrant son in a banana republic, you're going to have to learn about crowd suppression one day. No, I mean trusting his son to hold a live grenade in close proximity in the first place. If it doesn't have an LED screen built in, don't trust a teenager to hang on to anything. You'd have just enough time to turn around and see them holding a slinky and the grenade sitting unpinned on the nearest windowsill before all further education became unnecessary.
We'll undoubtedly be hearing more about Far Cry 6 later in the year.
Yes, for now, I'm afraid we've come to the end of the news, leaving us with no choice but to deal with
Arnie's mailbag.
I knew you were in here.
Where were you hiding today, Arnie?
I wasn't hiding. I'm a regular part of the show. I was just waiting in the green room.
We're recording this in the den, Arnie. We don't have a green room.
I know, so I built one myself in the corner.
By built, do you mean you tipped the cardboard box the desktop tower shipped in over and went to sleep inside it?
I didn't just tip it over. That baby has full amenities now. A bed, a chair, a cooler. It even has running water.
You put plumbing inside a cardboard box?
No, but the cooler leaks. You'll probably want to look at that after the show.
Do you have any letters for us, Arnie? Are we just going to have to finally strangle you on air and have done with it?
I have letters. Of course I do. Here, this one's from Reuben Gritters, who writes, "What would you gentlemen say is the video game with your favorite story?"
Now, that's a difficult question to answer definitively because it concerns the ever-evolving nature of the video game narrative. If we were simply talking about quality of writing, we'd probably be looking at something like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Uncharted 4, but the question is really how much writing actually makes up the whole of a video game story. Does the story only consist of the major narrative beats, or does the story also include dynamic parts like unscripted gun battles?
To say nothing of the nearly 45 minutes you spent in God of War's photo mode trying to make it look like Kratos' son was picking Kratos' nose.
Right, as games become more sophisticated, we stray further from a clearly delineated narrative path and more into a patchwork jumble of loosely connected, inconsistently toned episodes. Rather a lot like life itself.
Personally, I'm partial to Grim Fandango.
Got anything else in there, Arnie?
Okay, so this one's from Jinx97, and it's a little on the long side.
Oh, brother.
They write, "Do you guys ever get tired of how the industry is going straight down the crapper? I'm excited for the next gen of games, but I worry that between loot boxes, season passes, microtransactions, DLC, the ever-shifting war zone of fan outrage, etc., that maybe things have changed and there's no going back."
Well, to start with, that's quite correct. Things have changed and there is no going back, but that's been true from the beginning. Life is, after all, nothing but a series of changes.
The last one being the change from a living organism to a dead one.
Right, that's one of the bigger ones.
And the worst reviewed.
But with that said, even the changes will change eventually. It's easy to read the industry's headlong rush into loot boxes and live service gaming as an unstoppable downward spiral, but more and more developers are discovering that those elements do not in any way guarantee a financially successful game. Look at the launch of Fallout 76, for instance. Bethesda tried to serve a single-player audience a live service game, and that audience collectively sent them back to the kitchen with a no thank you that shook the very mountains.
Remember, for all the hullabaloo about live service titles, the top seller lists for all major modern consoles are absolutely dominated by single-player, story-based games like The Last of Us 2, Marvel's Spider-Man, and The Witcher 3.
From a publisher's standpoint, it would be nice if they could get everybody's cash with nothing but low-effort live service titles, but so long as single-player audiences are still only looking for single-player games, there will always be a market to begrudgingly cater to all those walking, talking moneybags.
How inspiring.
You want to do one more letter?
Do you have another letter?
Yes. Wait, no, it's actually an empty microwave popcorn bag.
Then I think we're done for the day. Until next time, video gamers, be sure to like, subscribe, enable notifications, and throw cash on our Patreon for more shows. This is Shu Tanaka.
And Chen Tanaka.
Hey, there's still one really flat piece of popcorn in here. Come to Papa.
Signing off.